Welcome back, guys. My name is Chris Patrick, and today we are going to do our video number 3 in our Mudboss build video series. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the first 2 videos. If you haven't checked them out, go check them out real quick before you go on to the video number 3. But this one is on how to break in your 12-turn Titan motors that you're going to get with any of your ready-to-run entry-level Traxxas kits that's out there in the market. It's predominantly going to be in your slashes, your rustlers, and your bandits. So let's get you guys a little bit closer to the workbench, and I'm going to show you how I go about breaking in a brushed 12-turn Titan motor. Now I'm going to show you guys how I go about breaking in the 12-turn motor. We got you guys closer to the workbench. We're going to use the standard electronics that comes with any of your ready-to-run kits that you would have bought brand new if you bought the box 229 unit. So with that, it's going to come with your Titan XL5, your Titan 12-turn 550 motor, and it's going to come with your standard TQ radio and receiver. And I'm going to show you how to break in one of these, what I find is the easiest way to do it. And a lot of people will tell you that you got to rig your throttle and like with rubber bands or zip ties. I've seen a bunch of different ways that people have tried doing this using just a generic radio. I'm going to show you how I do it, and I feel like it's the very simplest and easiest way, but it also gives you a consistent feeling. So first things first, you're going to want to get is a mason jar. Do not get a small one. Go with a quart-sized mason jar. You're going to want the extra space for the water that's going to go in here. Yes, I said water. There's some precautions, and the way that I'm going to teach you, I'm going to give you my warning now. Just because this is how I break in brushed motors doesn't mean it's the right way or it's your way of doing it. So if you feel that you've got a different technique or something else that you feel that I've missed, then comment down below and let me know what you guys think of this process. I know it works pretty well. It's just that you have to take very, very precautions towards the end, especially getting this motor dry and getting all the water out. So first thing first, do not use tap water. I don't care what everybody else tells you. It has minerals, it has bleaches, it has other chemicals that are mixed in with it that your standard, at least filtered water, is not going to have. If you can get a hold of distilled water, that is absolutely your best option, but unfortunately I don't have any today, so we're going to use regular Ice Mountain spring water that's filtered. So you only need to fill up just enough water in here to cover your motor. Doesn't take a whole lot. About right there is all you need, which is roughly 2/3 of a bottle of water. Not a lot. Take and set that aside for now. The trick to this is, instead of using your throttle for controlling the motor, we're going to use the steering control knob that is on your radio that you would use to adjust your trim for your steering. We're going to use this for throttle. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your speed controller that you've got. If it's mounted into your car, that's fine. If it's standalone like this, that's fine. Plug your speed controller into channel number 1 on your receiver, and that's going to trick the radio in thinking that, or the ESC that thinking that when you adjust your trim, that it's giving it a set throttle number. And that's the easy way of setting this. So you can set this and literally walk away. And then if you decide that you want to go and do a little bit more throttle, crank it up a little bit more, walk away. So you're also going to need a battery pack. Make sure it's charged. I've already went ahead and changed out my plugs to an XT60 plug because that's what I use on all of my vehicles that I use for anything else that is not racing related. So I don't want to buy batteries just for the standard Traxxas TRX plug. So go ahead and connect everything up. Turn your power on. And then you should get a solid green light on your receiver and you should have no light, no blinking light or nothing on your speed controller. That means you should be good to go. And then you can pick this up and just to verify, giving it throttle doesn't do anything. But if I change the steering, if I go one way, it ain't going to work because this is in race mode. And if I go the other way, it's working. So now go ahead, set your motor in your water. Make sure it's all the way in. You don't want to get your electronics wet when it comes to your receiver or your speed controller or your receiver. So I suggest setting them kind of apart from each other if you can. And then go ahead and slowly start turning your trim for your steering, and it's going to give you a set throttle response for your motor. What I personally suggest you do to start off on a brand new motor is barely get this thing spinning. Like slow it down so it barely moves. Do that for 10-15 seconds. It's not the end of the world. And then go ahead and slowly increase this up. But what you're going to do is you're going to end up getting close to about half throttle, but it's slowly seeding in your brushes to the commutator that's on the motor. I'm going to refer that to the comm. What happens is these particular motors are not built to really good standards when it comes to tolerances. I'm going to go ahead and turn this up a little bit. And those tolerances, and the best way I can word it is the brushes are really square. So imagine this is your comm on your motor, and your brush is up against it is square. So what you're doing is you're wearing out the square to make the brush contoured around the commutator. And that's called breaking in your motor. So you only need to run this for about 5 minutes, maybe 10 tops. And this is where it gets very questionable. Some people will tell you to run a whole pack. Some people will tell you to run it 30 seconds. I will warn you, the more you run it, in here, the shorter life expectancy you're going to get on a motor in the long run. Some people will break a motor into a point where they only get, let's just say, one big race out of it, and then that motor's done because it's pretty much worn out at that point. So I don't go that far with my motors, but you can if you want. So I'm going to let this run for a little bit. I'm actually going to turn this up just a little bit more. And then I will bring you guys right back. And we're done, guys. So that is how I break a motor in doing the water method. We're not finished, but that's just the beginning of it. And you're going to notice all of the dirt. And predominantly that's going to be the brushes that you're getting removed. The material is what's actually left in the water. And the water gives it just a little bit of a resistance. It helps keep the motor cool during this process. It actually does a few benefits of doing it this particular way. So let's go ahead and shut everything off. And then I'm going to disconnect my receiver because I'm going to move this back to channel 2 once we're done. And for this, I suggest you disconnect your motor completely from your ESC. And now you need to dry this. So what I suggest is take a set of canned air or an air compressor, whatever your choice is. Air dry this out as best as you can get it. And once you get it to what you think is dry, take your towel that you just blew all the water on, set that aside. Actually, I'm going to take some of the dry section. I'm going to dry off these power leads. And my personal preference, CRC Electromotive electric part cleaner. Some people will use brake clean. Some people will use parts cleaner. Some people, you can use carburetor cleaners. I've seen people use WD-40. I'm not telling you that they're right. I'm not telling you that they're wrong. I personally feel that some chemicals react to certain applications a lot worse than others. So what you're ultimately trying to do is you're trying to get all of the water out of your electric motor at this point. You're trying to dry it. And that's exactly what this is designed to do. It absolutely is completely safe for all electrical components, especially when it comes to electric motors. So be very thorough with this. Don't be cheap. So spray it down in there. You can do this in a bucket if you had a bucket handy. It's all about how if you feel comfortable that it's got this all over. I probably went a little excessive this time, but I'm okay with that. So now take a quick moment, clean off your workbench real fast, clean everything up. Get you another towel. And this is why I like using the blue stuff. These things are very, very lint-free. They're very clean. They don't fall apart. And they work really, really well. So this will dry and evaporate. You can hit it again with your air compressor or your canned air. And once you're done with that, and you are curious, you can actually look, and I won't be able to get this on camera, but I can tell you from looking at it at this angle, I can peek right inside this window at about a 45-degree angle looking inwards, and I can see where those brushes are in that commutator. In that you can see exactly where those brushes were wearing, and you can tell that it's made real good contact. And that's what you're trying to do. And if you feel like you need to wear that off a little bit more, then I'm going to suggest you run it some more in the water and go until you feel that you're satisfied with the connection of your brushes against that commutator. So in this case, you can actually see it from the top as well if you look. That looks real good to me. So from the top, you can see that I've got almost full circle. Again, I know you guys can't see it, but I'm looking through this window at about a 45-degree angle sideways and inwards to the motor, and I'm looking down there. I will see if I can't get a close-up picture and post it for you guys so I can point with an arrow on the screen to show you where I'm looking at. So now that we've got the motor clean, you can even see all of the dirt that came out. Even though we ran it through there, I've just used the automotive electrical motor cleaner, and we still got a little bit of dirt. So the last part to this is we've got it cleaned, but the last step is going to be oil. You can use any kind of oil that fits your needs, but it's all up to you on what type of oil you want to use. So you know that I don't run normal stuff, so this particular oil that I'm using, and I'm putting it on the shaft in this location, going to give it one thorough drop, and then I will do the same on the top. And these locations are where bearings would be on a normal motor, but this particular motor does not have bearings. It has bushings. So you can run that on there, and that's to prevent any kind of drag, friction, and that's to free up this motor as much as you can. So now that we've got it broke in, we've got it dried out, and now we have it lubricated, that is pretty much all you need to do to one of these to get this thing ready. And you actually get a little bit more power out of it, and if you break it in right, they actually will last a little bit longer. But if you go too far with the break-in process, then you take the life expectancy out of the motor. So I know people like to go very, very far with it. And then let's go ahead and hook this back up. Once I get this all reconnected back up, I'm going to connect it back to channel 2. I'll bring you guys right back. Got everything reconnected back up the way that it's supposed to be. So the speed controller is connected to the receiver on channel 2. We're going to turn our radio back on. We're going to go ahead and turn the power back on our electronic speed controller. Pick up your motor so it doesn't go flying, and let's verify that it is correctly going the wrong way. And you notice, if you give it full throttle, it jumps out of your hand because I wasn't holding it very tight. So one thing I like to do with motors at this point is I will write the date on here. So 4/17/22. And the reason why you do that is because then if you have, let's say, 4 of these motors and you've got them all in bags or whatever in your pit bag and you don't remember which one's which, you can always refer back to this. Oh, I remember building this on 4/17/2022. I hope this makes sense to you guys, and hopefully you guys take something away that maybe I taught you something new. If you have a different suggestion for this, let me know down below. I'm curious to know what you guys your process is with breaking in brushed motors. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I know some of you guys are new, so if you are, I would appreciate you taking the extra moment to go hit the subscription button up top. And if you've already and you've been around for a while, I appreciate all your support. You all know that. And with that, we're going to wrap this video up. I know I'm rambling, so I'm going to let you guys go. And yeah, so you all have a great day. And this one is recorded on Easter, so hopefully you all have a wonderful Easter Sunday. And enjoy some time with your family, and I will see you guys on the next video. Later, guys.